Hi, welcome to the video. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy, and comment your thoughts and opinions on the stories. Let's get started. Am I the antagonist for telling my dad he better correct his lies or I will? My dad and I, 19 male, have a bad relationship. Ever since my mom died, when I was 9 it's been downhill. He got remarried 5 months later. Wanted me to let his wife adopt me. Had 4 kids with her. Not to mention he never understood how I could struggle so much. He couldn't understand my lack of resilience. Because I didn't bounce back, my grades slipped more and more. I wasn't happy. I hated that he remarried. To the point I was physically puking for a while with anxiety and fear. I never forgave him for how he handled all of that. Sometimes it feels like I would be better off without any of them. I'm no longer living with them, but everyone in my life has encouraged me to maintain a relationship with my half siblings. So I do it because of that. They have been told their mom adopted me and she's my mom now. I asked what made them think that, and they said mom and dad told us. I was so mad. Dad and his wife tried pulling that on me before, but to tell their kids. He also told them that I lied to others about it because I want to punish them. He also said his wife was a better mom than my mom was, which is why I was adopted. I ended up telling dad he better correct his lies or I would, and I would not sugarcoat any of how I feel. The choice was up to him. That escalated shit between us. He told me I will not threaten him, and I will not destroy my half siblings' trust in their parents. I told him I wasn't going to stand by and let anyone think badly of my mom, or assume that his wife is legally my mother now. He told his parents and my grandpa is telling me I'm an asshole for wanting to crush the kids and not putting them first. Am I the antagonist? Now for the top comments. NTA, your dad shouldn't have lied to your half siblings to begin with. He is deliberately smearing your name and being disrespectful to your mom by doing that. I'm so sorry, man. NTA at all. Your dad's wife should stay in her lane. You have absolutely zero obligation to recognize her as your mother. Your dad is also a major a-hole because he remarried 5 months after your mother's passing without any thoughts to your mental health. You were 9 yo for crying out loud. He should have taken care of your grief, put you to therapy, let you heal from the loss of your mom. On top of that, they lied to their children. To what end? What purpose served leading them to believe that their mother adopted you? They made their bed with their lies and now they pay the consequences. Tell the kids the truth. Your dad and his wife should have respected your boundaries in the first place. Wait, so grandpa is saying Op should put the kids first, but it was somehow okay that his own son did not put his kid first when Op was 9 and their mom had died. NTA. He and his wife are making up fantasies and happy endings to make themselves look good and haven't been showing any respect for your feelings and even lying about how you feel. You own your own story. You're allowed to tell it. Am I the antagonist for refusing to apologize for the way I announced my pregnancy? Last night I, 29F, hosted a small get together for my husband's, 37 male, birthday. It's fair to say his family do not like me and think he can do better. We have been LC for months and only reconciled due to him wanting them at our wedding last week. We used last night as perfect timing to announce our pregnancy as all the important people were there. As I served dessert, I gave each of our parents an amazing grandparent mug with a scanned picture attached. My parents were ecstatic and congratulated us both. His mum started crying straight away, demanding to know how scan it was, and it was a cruel joke to play after everything we've been through, meaning my previous losses and infertility issues. My Phil took her outside to calm down and then said it was a weird way to announce the pregnancy. They both left soon after, and she phoned me saying I should apologize for blindsiding her and that I should have told her as soon as I found out I was pregnant. She then went on to accuse me of cheating on my husband as the dates don't add up for it to be his baby, and that I should have kept it a secret for longer just in case anything happens. I've been feeling super guilty about the whole night and wish I hadn't bothered with it at all. Am I the antagonist for announcing in the way I did? Edit. Regarding the dates adding up comments. Basically, husband went away for a week for work, and because of how far along I'm, mother-in-law is saying I had to have got pregnant in that week so it can't be hubby's. Now for the top comments. NTA. Your mother-in-law sounds like a pill. blindsiding her and that I should have told her as soon as I found out I was pregnant. She then says I should have kept it a secret for longer just in case anything happens. Even her own statements are internally inconsistent. She is clearly going to find some way to not be happy about it and play the victim based on this little snippet of behavior alone. Don't apologize. Continue LC or go NC and make darn sure that your husband understands she accused you of cheating on him and that he is on your side. NTA, the fact that you were already LC with these people is a red flag. The fact that your in-laws were anything but excited for you to have a child is another red flag. Do not apologize to these people for anything and talk to your husband about how he wants to handle his parents. Go LC again. Make it clear that their outburst was inappropriate. Go NC entirely. Leave the decision up to him. But you should interact with these people as little as possible. Oh, they are completely horrific to me. My husband thought that the wedding would make amends with us, but it didn't. I refuse to be anywhere near them now, and he said, unless they realize what they've done and how much they've hurt us both, then we won't be having any contact with them. Am I the antagonist for not telling my husband where his son was? I, 27F, married my husband, 37 male, 4 years ago. He has 3 children from his previous marriage, 16 male twins. 13F. From the very beginning, I was super clear with them that, while I'd love a relationship, I'd never try to force them into anything, especially not a parental one. And, for the most part, that's been going about as well as you'd expect. I'm dad's wife, nothing more. However, when the twins first started learning to drive last summer, I told them both that driving would give them new freedom, and I knew the stuff teenagers got up to. I then said that, while I get that's part of growing up, their safety is the most important thing. So if they ever felt like they were in an unsafe situation and needed an out, don't hesitate to call me. I would come get them, no matter what, no questions asked, and dad didn't have to know. Husband and his ex tend to be very liberal with punishments. They brushed me off at the time, and I thought very little of it. Fast forward. Last Friday, one of the boys, B from now on, was supposed to be staying at a friend's house after prom. At 2:30 am I'm up finishing a bit of grinding in my game when I get a call from him. B explains in a shaky and slurred voice that he was at a senior girl's house party and the friend who drove had ditched him, and he had been drinking a lot. And please don't tell dad. I've already snuck out of the house, and I just say, don't worry, your father's asleep and I'm on my way. He texts me the address after some coaxing, and within 30 minutes I'm discreetly shuffling a drunken, shaking boy into my passenger seat. He's crying within 5 minutes of leaving. I did my best to comfort him. I drove through McDonald's and got him a burger and ice cream. I get him home, sneak him back into his room, and get him safe in bed. I don't sleep from constantly checking on him to be sure he doesn't show signs of alcohol poisoning. Husband leaves for work early Saturday morning, so he doesn't notice B is home. B is nursing a bit of a hangover but is fine. Ever since, both the twins have warmed to me exponentially. I even heard B say my dad and stepmom's house instead of my dad's house. Stepmom. But, yesterday, my husband put 2 plus 2 together after some combination of local gossip and testimony from his daughter. What actually happened, and it came out what I did. Obviously he was mad that I knew and didn't tell him. I told him I wouldn't apologize for showing his son to ask for help in bad situations, nor would I condone punishing him for doing exactly what he should have done to fix a mistake he clearly already learned from. Husband says I undercut him in the role of his child's father by going behind his back. The ex says I overstepped entirely, but I still think I did the right thing. Am I the antagonist? Now for the top comments. NTA, teenagers need more people in their lives that are willing to say, let's get you cleaned up and not you're grounded forever. The boy probably learned a lot more from that evening than he would have if dad had showed up yelling. He's safe. That's what matters. If not for stepmom, he probably wouldn't even call at all. TBH. There are many things that I'd rather face over hours of yelling. NTA. It is so incredibly rare for a teenager to feel a strong enough connection with an adult that they would actually reach out when they don't feel safe somewhere. You could have easily saved him a hospital visit or a slow death on a high school girl's floor. You absolutely did the right thing. And you're an amazing stepmother. Am I the antagonist for not telling my husband why? Was I trying on my friend's wedding dress? For some background, I'm 5 months pregnant, and I also been married for 3 years now. My best friend Cassidy is getting married in 3 months. But 2 weeks ago we were chilling at my house doing girls night, and I found 2 pregnancy tests from back then. She tried one for fun and lo and behold, she's pregnant lol. She's got the blood test and she's around 5-6 weeks. She told her fiancé, and they're both excited, but Cassidy's family is quite special. So she asked me to not tell anyone yet. Cassidy fears her dress won't fit anymore. We're the same size. I'm just pregnant. And since she made her dress herself, she asked me if I could try on so she could make the alterations for her big day. I wasn't sure. I said that how I look now might be totally different from how she looks during her 5 months. But she begged me to do it. Since she's a really anxious person and this was putting a toll on her plans, I ended up agreeing. I went to her house yesterday at 4 PM and my husband was supposed to pick me up from her house at 5. I tried on the dress, and she put a few pins and marks. She excused herself to go to the bathroom, so I was just standing there in the middle of her room with the dress. My husband arrived early, 30 minutes earlier than he was supposed to, and just entered the home looking for me. We are used to it. She and her fiancé does the same. So when he found me, I was just there in white. He was confused, didn't act bad or anything, but asked why I was wearing Cassidy's dress. Cassidy arrived at the same time and, to no expose her, I just acted as if she had just found me wearing her dress. I apologized and even cried a bit. My husband apologized to her and told me to change. I did. Cass said I could tell him, but the thing is, my hubby doesn't know how to keep his pretty mouth shut. He's a real gossip. He already told her mother and sister that I was wearing the dress, and if we tell him that Cass is preggo, he'll most likely tell. On our way home, my husband said I was an ass for doing that, and I'm wondering if I should risk it. Now for the top comments. Tell him after the news breaks. You're not the a-hole for knowing what dat mouth do. And what it'd do in this case is spill the beans. Op is a good friend. NTA. Although I'm super confused why your husband told her parents you tried on her dress. Like I have so many questions. Why is he telling your friend's parents such a mundane fact? Why does he feel they needed to know? It wasn't some big secret. Is he close with them? So weird. I mean, I get why he thinks you're an R with the info he currently has. You're not, of course. But I just find it so strange be told them that fact. I get that some people can't keep secrets, but that's not even a secret. Just a little fact. But no a-holes here. I think it's pretty harmless that you made a cover story. Clearly for good reason. Lol. Well, if he can't be trusted to keep meaningless info from them, imagine informational info XD. NTA just between a rock and a talkative place. Am I the antagonist for leaving my date stranded at the restaurant? My 28F friend set me up with her brother, 29 male, saying that we had a lot in common. An hour before we were to meet at the restaurant, he texted me saying his car wouldn't start. Would I feel comfortable picking him up? I said sure. I picked him up, and we get to the restaurant. When we sit, he tried to order for me. A hard no. He was rude to our waitress, and he had the attitude that he was better than everyone else there. All he talked about was how much money he made and how important his job was. Overall, it was just a shit date. When we were finishing up, the waitress asked how we'd like our check, and I said separate. He didn't like that. He said that he was paying, and then we'd go to your place to have fun. Again a hard no. I told him no. I'm not bringing him to my house, and I was paying for myself. He started getting really angry, said that I should be thankful that he took me out because he can do better. I just gave the waitress my portion and her tip, and thanked her for putting up with him and walked out. He started yelling that the least I can do is drive him home since I wasn't gonna let him hit it. He hadn't paid yet, so a waiter nearby told him he couldn't leave yet, and I walked out and went home. His sister, my friend, that set us up called me a bitch because she had to go get him. She lives 30 minutes away. I told her what happened and she agreed that he was an R, but I should have still brought him home because she had to bring her 2-year with her and it was late at night. Our group is torn. Was I an R or did I do the right thing? Now for the top comments. NTA. She could have told him to get an Uber with the money he saved not paying for you. No one forced her to pick him up and honestly he sounds scary. No way you should have gotten in a car with him alone. I had an ex who once started driving like a maniac when we had an argument in his car. I broke up with him shortly after. Sometime later we both went separately to the same band event and ended up having pizza with the same group of people we both knew. When everyone was leaving, he asked me to stay a bit more to talk with him. I said okay, shouldn't have. But I was young. But just for a minute, because I was going to take the bus with my girlfriends. He said I'll take you home, and I actually laughed and said no, I'm going with the girls. He went really mad, forcefully grabbed my arm, and literally said I'd break all your bones if there was no one around. I practically ran out of the place after that. To this day, I'm still surprised he actually believed I'd get in a car with him again. Ever. NTA. If he makes so much money, like he was bragging, he can certainly afford an Uber to get home. Am I the antagonist for telling my sister to stop blaming God for her own stupidity? Me, 23F, and my sister, 25F, had the same upbringing regarding sex education. My parents sat down with both of us and explained everything, including ways to protect themselves and what would happen if they didn't. Every boyfriend of ours, they made a point of remembering that conversation. Currently, we live apart. My sister lives with her husband, and since she meeting him, I'd say theory peculiar couple. They believe in several theories and I will not quote them here, because some are very specific. One of them, I will have to say that they believe that protection should not be used, because they came into the world that way and that would be like denying their own nature. Another point to be made is that they are not in a good financial condition and are currently struggling to pay off student loans and both with jobs that pay a little more than the minimum wage. And I'm child free. That fact will be important. 2 days ago, I went to my mother's house to do something and my sister knocked on the door. When my mother answered, my sister was sobbing and crying and saying she was pregnant. I couldn't react with happiness because my sister was screaming and saying, why did God do this to me? Why God? It's really hard financially to have a baby, you should be by my side. God. And it went on like that for 3 hours. Blaming God. I left after that because I already had a headache from screaming and I hate that they use God's name in that way or in vain. Yesterday my sister called me and started saying the same things she said the day before. Went like this for 1 hour. And I was already fed up and said stop it. Stop blaming God for your and your husband's stupidity in not protecting yourself. The call went silent and started calling me different names. Saying that I judged her for having a child for being child free. That I didn't support her. How could I say that? Well, it's been a mess ever since. My brother-in-law came to talk shit to me. My parents agree with me, but say I could have said it better, especially since she's now pregnant and shouldn't be stressed. I said at the moment of stress of having to listen to screaming for almost 1 hour. But nothing I said I think was a lie. Am I the antagonist? Extra. No. Other ways of dealing with baby and pregnancy are not an option for them. Now for the top comments. NTA, thank you for sharing the laughs. Honestly, I have some similar circumstances within my own family. Them being very religious, and either not so much individual who is also child free. So this resonated with me a bit. I wish I could have been there to chuckle alongside you and find the humor in it all. But it's got to be frustrating as well to see people so dumb, ignorant, and unwilling to accept that their own actions have consequences. Sister, it's against my faith to use protection. Sister and brother-in-law doesn't use protection. Sister gets pregnant. Sister, surprised Pikachu face. NTA, I'm not religious, but for a minute I'll pretend a higher entity does exist. She answered all of her own questions on how God could let this happen when she stated, we cannot use protection because we came into the world that way and we would be denying nature if we did. She believes that God has made sex natural for the purpose of reproduction. She and her husband do not believe in the use of any sort of contraceptive because they find them to be unnatural. Yet she's now trying to blame God for allowing this very natural thing she believes in. Does she now view her baby as unnatural? If she wants to try and blame you for being harsh, what you really need to tell her and brother-in-law is that they better stop crying about it. Pull on their big boy and girl panties, get better paying jobs, and secure their finances to be able to provide for this child in 9 months. Funny she has no problem obeying God when she believes it benefits her views, and then it's suddenly God's fault when her views cause her to become pregnant. Gotta love it. Well, if it's not the consequences of my own actions. Apostrophe.